In the book Interview with an Alien, this is what he told the nurse, who was the only person he would speak to when they captured the alien in the Roswell incident. Check this.
On the average, the percentage of planets in the physical universe with a breathable atmosphere is relatively small. Most planets do not have an atmosphere upon which life forms feed, as on Earth, where the chemical composition of the atmosphere provides nutrition to plants and other organisms, which in turn support other life forms. When the domain force brought the Vedic hymns to the Himalayas region 8,200 years ago, some human societies already existed. The Aryan people invaded and conquered India, bringing the Vedic hymns to the area. The Vedas were learned by them, memorized and carried forward verbally for 7,000 years before being committed to written form. During that span of time, one of the officers of the Domain Expeditionary Force was incarnated on Earth as Vishnu. He is described many times in the Rig Veda. He is still considered to be a god by the Hindus. Vishnu fought in the religious wars against the old empire forces. He is a very able and aggressive Is-Be, as well as a highly effective officer who has since been reassigned to other duties in the domain. This entire episode was orchestrated as an attack and revolt against the Egyptian pantheon installed by old empire administrators. The conflict was intended to help free mankind from implanted elements of the false civilization that focused attention on many gods and superstitious ritual worship demanded by the priests who managed them. It is all part of the mental manipulation by the old empire to hide their criminal actions against the Is-Bes on Earth. A priesthood or prison guards were used to help reinforce the idea that an individual is only a biological body and is not an immortal spiritual being. The individual has no identity. The individuals have no past lives. The individual has no power. Only the gods have power, and the gods are a contrivance of the priests who intercede between men and the gods they serve. Men are slaves to the dictates of the priests who threaten eternal spiritual punishment if men do not obey them. What else would one expect on a prison planet where all prisoners have amnesia and the priests themselves are prisoners? The intervention of the domain force on Earth has not been entirely successful due to the secret mind control operation of the old empire that still continues to operate. A battle was waged between the old empire forces and the domain through religious conquest. Between 1500 BCE and about 1200 BCE, the domain forces attempted to teach the concept of an individual, immortal spiritual being to several influential beings on Earth. One such instance resulted in a very tragic misunderstanding, misinterpretation and misapplication of the concept. The idea was perverted and applied to mean that there is only one Is-Be, instead of the truth that everyone is an Is-Be. Obviously, this was a gross incomprehension and an utter unwillingness to take responsibility for one's own power. The old empire priests managed to corrupt the concept of individual immortality into the idea that there is only one all-powerful Is-Be, and that no one else is, or is allowed to be, an Is-Be. Obviously, this is the work of the old empire amnesia operation. It is easy to teach this altered notion to beings who do not want to be responsible for their own lives. Slaves are such beings. As long as one chooses to assign responsibility for creation, existence, and personal accountability for one's own thoughts and actions to others, one is a slave. As a result, the concept of a single monotheistic God resulted and was promoted by many self-proclaimed prophets, such as the Jewish slave leader Moses, who grew up in the household of the pharaoh Amenhotep III, and his son Akhenaten and his wife Nefertiti, as well as his son Tutankhamun. The attempt to teach certain beings on Earth the truth that they are themselves Is-Bes was part of a plan to overthrow the fictional, metaphorical, anthropomorphic panoply of gods created by the Old Empire mystery cult called the Brothers of the Serpent, known in Egypt as the Priests of Amun. They were a very ancient secret society within the Old Empire. The pharaoh Akhenaten was not a very intelligent being and was heavily influenced by his personal ambition for self-glorification. He altered the concept of the individual spiritual being and embodied the concept in the sun god Aten. His pitiful existence was soon ended. He was assassinated by Maya and Paranipha, two of the priests of Amun, or Amen, which the Christians still say, who represented the interests of the old empire forces. The idea of one God was perpetrated by the Hebrew leader Moses while he was in Egypt.